There aren't too many projects out there like Phala, so I do think this one has a really good opportunity going into 2025. But before we get into all that, none of this is financial advice. I'm not paid by the Phala team in any way, and I am currently not invested in Phala at the making of this video. So without further ado, roll that intro and let's get this video started. So Phala is sitting at 41 cents on CoinGecko, number 273. Sitting at a market cap of 320 million, which is going to be relatively low. You have a total and max supply of 1 billion, a circulating supply of 771 million, which means that 77% of the total supply is already in circulation. So from a perspective of dilution, majority of supply is already out, which is a very good thing to see. Going to their contracts currently based on Sora and Ethereum. And the categories that Phala is going to be operating in would be AI, infrastructure, smart contracts, oracles, interoperability, layer 2, zero knowledge or ZK rollups, DPin, rollups, AI agents, and they're also part of the DWF Labs portfolio, so they do have a little bit of institutional money. So Phala is considered a cloud computing protocol. In Web 2 terms, what they're going to be operating like would be cloud hosting services. And this is something that we just recently had to do in the EPIQ Trading Floor. We were using a different type of host, and the system requirements ended up being too low for what we needed for the EPIQ Trading Floor, so we ended up switching to cloud hosting. Now, this is essentially what Phala is going to be offering, but from a Web 3 perspective. So essentially what they are operating in is in the big data space. Data is king. As projects in the space continues to grow, the demand and requirement for software and for hardware is going to increase. And with that need and that want and that desire, there's going to be a place for a project like this so that other ecosystems can operate correctly. For example, if I built a Web3 game on Ethereum, but the actual server requirements from the Ethereum network or the Ethereum blockchain are not sufficient enough for me to operate to the scale that I needed for my game, I can use a project like Phala, connect my video game to the Phala network, and then from that point, I'll be able to get access to their cloud storage and their cloud computation so that I can operate and run and function the game smoothly because it's all operating through the EVM or the Ethereum virtual machine. So from a dev perspective, there is a lot that can be done for this, and it does offer a lot of solutions. Now, anything that offers a major solution for me, I'm always going to take the time to look into. And I always talk about data being king. Whoever can control the data and have the majority of data and the operating power, I think is going to be the most successful or one of the most successful projects going into the next few years. Think of it like a Google, for example, who runs the data in the Web 2 space. Now, from a user perspective, which is another big component, what you're able to do with Phala is you can essentially rent out your hardware or your GPU power. So because this is a decentralized network, there's a decentralized cloud, every single node essentially is going to have a GPU or hardware system attached to it. And then in return, people can rent out those hardware spaces and give it to people that would need it in order to operate their websites, their apps, and so on and so forth. So for example, I could have a computer that's operating for Phala, or anyone that's watching this video could open their own node on Phala. You could rent out your hardware space, and then when people are using your hardware space, you're going to be earning Phala tokens as a reward. So it operates pretty similar to an Internet of Things or an IoT project or ecosystem. And it's also tied in as a decentralized cloud storage project. And then you're also tying it in with DPin, AI, and all these other major components that I think that all can do really well in 2025. And naturally, a project that's complementary to every single one of those ecosystems and sectors will gain a little bit of a benefit when those sectors and ecosystems go into parabolic movements through 2025. And the thing about Phala is that since it's built through Ethereum, it's able to operate with everything under EVM or the Ethereum virtual machine, which the majority of dApps are going to be building on EVM. So me personally, I think this is a very, very, very bullish project, maybe a little bit ahead of its time, but I can see this being a major component of 2025. If you want to come trade with me, get access to our academy, our community, our members only live streams, the trading floors, everything like that. There are limited seats available in the EPIQ Trading Floor. I'll tag the link in the video in the description too. It does come with a 3-day risk-free trial, so you can try out everything for 72 hours before you make that decision on whether you want to stay in the group long term. And there are also a ton of free resources like free education and macro dashboards that you can use that are available to anyone. Now, when you're looking at the chart on Phala, this does have a lot of room for downplay right now. You're looking at a bearish crossover. We did see a nice impulse move within the last week from Phala. We were able to break the range highs from 2024, which we'll look at in a little bit. But based on this Fibonacci retracement, you have a nice little zone basically under 32 cents where you can get a really good potential support. You do have an inflow of volume on the 4-hour, but keep in mind bearish pivot signal, bearish crossover. So the signs of the bearish tendencies are definitely there at this exact moment. Now, when you bring this out to the daily, for example, you can see we have still a lot of inflow of volume. When you zoom out on the zone, you can see that this is going to be the range high zone from 2024, which we were able to break. So even if we could find any sort of major SR flip or support resistance flip in this area, or even down into the 27 to 21 cent range, you could see a really strong support hold going into 2025, and that would be very bullish. Me personally, I'm waiting for a retracement into one of these zones and a little bit of an accumulation phase before I add in. So I'm currently waiting to see if we can get a nice little retracement before I get my buy-in opportunities. And that's why none of this is financial advice, to each their own. But all in all, I do think Phala is very bullish. I do think that it has a very unique opportunity because there aren't many projects that are like it. I do like that it's operating within that GPU hardware space and that users can essentially mine and earn Phala just by renting out hardware. You could think of that as its own style of mining Bitcoin, for example. And the value that it brings to the space is exponentially high. So there are many things that are going in the way of Phala going into 2025 and why I like this project long term. So we'll wrap it up here. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, let me know. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure to do that already. I hope everyone has an amazing morning, afternoon, evening, depending on wherever you're tuning in the world. If you're not in the EPIQ Trading Floor, go check that out as well. And I will see you in the next video.